Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to create these very cool earrings made with a stitch that's new to me. It's called triangular tubular herringbone, and I'm using some of, not these, but these Eureka Crystal Beads Krakowski crystal pearls that they introduced maybe a few months ago. So we'll get to those in a minute, but I just wanted you to see this gorgeous stitch. And I learned this stitch from Cynthia Newcomer Daniel's book, Modern Beaded Lace. Let me show you the book real quick. So here's the book. I'm sure many of you already, there we go. Many of you already have this book or have seen this book. It is so amazing. She uses beads to create these beautiful patterns that are used in traditional lace making. So if you've ever seen handmade lace, it's what an amazing art. Look online at some pictures. I didn't know if I could show pictures from online, so but look at it. It's just amazing. Her beaded lace mimics those patterns that are found in some beaded lace making designs. So absolutely stunning designs. They're challenging, but they're so satisfying once you learn them. I'll give you like a quick look at a couple of pieces. Look at these gorgeous bezels. I want to make these so bad, and this too. So she goes through all the stitches. I mean, there's so much information in this book, and she takes these traditional stitches that we all know, like herringbone, peyote, square stitch, and she modifies them a little bit to kind of create something new out of them, and that's what this triangular tubular herringbone is. So thank you, Cynthia, for creating this beautiful stitch. I love it, and we're gonna make these earrings. Okay, before we get started, I just wanted to share with you some of the Krakowski pearls that Eureka Crystal Beads sent to me to show you, and I'm thrilled to be able to share them with you. So these are more of the basic colors. So I think we've got a white in the 4mm, this pretty rosaline. We've got some cream, some gold. What is this? This is light gold, so we have a gold and a light gold. A dove gray, which this is so pretty. It almost looks white, but it's a little cool, like it's very, very pretty. And here is this big 8mm, which I think is cream rose, but they kind of look white. So they're all this sort of traditional, beautiful pearl colors. They're beautiful pearls. You know me, the first thing I do is I look inside to see what that hole is, and how round are they, and how are they beautifully finished. Yes, they're very well done. So I'm very pleased with these pearls. And also they sent me a couple of these cabs. So if you watched the last collection, Ethereal Opal collection, Gina had in her collection some of these pretty opal cabs, and I think this one is Amethyst Opal and this one is Fire Opal, and isn't that pretty? So we'll be playing with these. We'll either bezel them or we'll put them on bead embroidery. But anyway, a lot to share today. And of course, these earrings are made with the 8mm pearl right here. So very happy to be able to share those with you. Come on back and we'll get started on the earrings. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So for the silver earrings, I'm using the Krakowski 8mm pearl, so you need two of them. I have an 11/0 seed bead and an 8/0 seed bead. So that's what we're using for that, and a pair of ear wires. For these, I used some Czech seed beads, and these in 8/0 and 11/0, and I used a Swarovski pearl here. And a little piece of chain. This is a Rolo chain, so here's your Rolo chain. So I will put everything in the description box below the video, so colors and everything, so you can, and places to purchase if you need them. I'm using a size 12 beading needle. I'm going to try an 11 too. For most of the projects in the book, a size 12 beading needle is used because, you're going through the beads a lot and you're making sort of intricate lace. Stop bead. Your thread, I'm using that 4-pound Fireline that I had, but, there are different threads that you can use, and you can look in, you'll see in the book, if you purchase the book, she goes into great detail about everything that you use for this. Now, for the video, for the tutorial purposes, I am using 6/0 seed beads, 8/0 seed beads, and a 10mm pearl. So we have a big one going, and I think this is going to be easier for you to see and easier for me to work with to make this stitch. All right, so I think that's everything. Don't forget to check the description box below the video for everything that you need to make these, a link to the book, The book is not expensive compared to so many books on the market, and chock full of like amazing information. All right, so I'm going to clear this off and we will get started. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 3 feet of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave enough of a tail to sew in. So I'm going to pick up 4 of my smaller beads. So I'm using an 8/0 here, but you'll be using an 11/0 if you're going to go that, do the earring. I'm going to drop them down to my stop bead. So I'm going to give you all visual here. Of course, I'll talk also, but if you need a refresher on how to start herringbone with ladder stitch and then how to do herringbone and such, I'll link my playlist down below in the description box. So if you need a little refresher and you want to, practice a little bit, you can. I'm just going to go through, the steps to create this sort of this rounded herringbone, this tubular herringbone with 2 different size beads. So here we go. I have my 4 beads here against the stop bead. I'm coming up through the first 2 from the stop bead, with my thumb in a minute, until these beads pop next to one another like that. So I have little stacks going on there. I'm going to sew through these 2, just down again. I'm going to pick two of my larger beads. And these beads, check and make sure that they're the same width and they're looking really good, because that's what's going to show on the outside. All right, so 2 of my larger beads, I'm using a 6/0. If you're doing the earrings, you use an 8/0. Just going to sew down through this one. So now I have 2 stacks of 8/0 and a stack of 6/0 beads here. Just like that. Now I'm just going to reinforce by going back down this one and up through these 2. So these 2 and then the next 2. So now I'm back at the beginning, just like that. Okay, next we're exiting these 2 beads here on the end. We're going to make this into like a tube. So we're going to sew through these 2, the 2 big ones, like that. And then back up through these 2. Just like that. And now if you notice, I have this little stack, little triangle made with these stacks of beads, and there's a thread in between each one. So this is exactly where you want to be. So get that done and come back and we'll continue. Okay, let's move on. So we have our little triangular stacks here. We're exiting this one right here. So you want to hold your piece so your smaller beads are facing you, the 4 smaller beads. I'm going to pick up 2 of the smaller beads. I'm going to sew down the next group of 2. So just right down 2 right there. And then up 2. So up the 2 larger beads. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm just going to rotate my piece so that the larger beads are on the right and the smaller beads are on the left. I'll just pop these down a little bit. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up a larger bead. I'm going to sew down through the smaller bead, just 1, like that. I kind of pop it over and pull my thread over a little bit. So just through that 1 and up the bead we just put on. So down 1, up 1. Just like that. Now I'm going to turn my piece so that my larger beads are on the left, and I'm going to sew right down through all 3 of these beads like that, and then up these 3. And that's the whole stitch. But we'll do it a few times so you get it, because it's, you're kind of twisting back, you're going back and forth a little bit, but really once you get going, it's so easy and so much fun. All right, so get to this point and come back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So face your piece again so all your smaller beads are facing you. Exiting here, pick up 2 of the smaller beads. We're going to go down 2, just 2, to add that stitch on, and then up 2. So we went down the 2 smaller beads and up the 2 larger beads. Just like that. I'm just going to rotate my piece a little bit so that my larger beads are on the right. I'm going to pick up one of my larger beads. I'm going to sew down just one of the smaller beads, so one right there. I'm going to pop it over, and then I'm going to sew right back through that bead I just put on. So down one, up one. Like that. I'm going to rotate my piece so that my larger beads are on the left. I'm going to go down 3 of the smaller beads, and then up 3. Like that. Now back where I started from, I can add more beads on. Should we just move on and do another little bit? Pick up 2 of the smaller beads, exiting here. So through these 2. Put those down, and then up these 2. So the 2 larger beads. Rotate your piece a little bit so that your larger beads are on the right. Pick up your bigger bead, sew down one, this one smaller bead there. Pop it over and back up that same bead you put on. So down one, up one. Move your piece a little bit so your larger beads are on the left. Sew down 3 of the smaller beads, and then up 3. And your thread kind of goes there automatically. Just like that. Hello, you have the whole stitch done now. You're just going to keep doing that. And you're going to do it until you have a nice circle going, and then we're going to connect the ends. Now, in the book, there are ways to add beads in a way that you can transition to tubular herringbone and then triangular and tubular, so you can make long, more straight pieces, and then you could curve. I mean, so many things. I'm just giving you this basic stitch just to start out with. All right, so keep going, keep doing that. Rewind if you need to, until you get a nice circle going, and then come back and we'll close it up. Okay, so now we're going to sew it together, and then we'll add the purl after. So you're exiting, you know, this bead here, so one of the interior smaller beads, just like so. So all you're going to do is sew around the beads as if you're adding on more herringbone stitches. So I'm just going to sew through these 2. So right across. I'm going to go back through these 2. I'm going to do these 2 again. These 2. And then I'm going to go back again through all the beads. Like that. Now, just to be 100% sure everything's sewn together nicely, I'm just going to go to the back. I'm going to come just here. I'm just like exiting on that side. I'm just going to sew through 4 beads here, like so. And then I'm just going to sew down through the 8 ohs too, 4 of them. So I'm just coming out of here. I'm just going to sew through 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And now my piece is all sewn together. Okay, let's add the purl. So I'm exiting one of the interior beads. So it's in this direction. Just going to pick up the purl. And I'm just going to find a bead, you know, pretty much the opposite of that bead, and just sew through that bead like this. Pop the purl in. Then I'm going to go back up the purl. So I'm exiting the other side of the bead, going back up the bead, the pearl, and then back through, back over through the other side of the bead I started with. Just like that. And that just sort of, if I push it out, see how it's got a thread coming out, going around, going down, and doing the same thing on the other end. So it's surrounding that bead. Just give a little pull. And there you have your purlin. Cool, huh? All right, let's get that done and then we'll move on. Okay, just a note. So this earring, I used Czech seed beads, and it took me 21 beads to get around this 8mm pearl. In this earring, I used Miyuki, and it took me 20 beads around to encircle the pearl. So depending on what beads you use, because the Czech beads are a little smaller, or maybe your pearl is a little bit bigger, it's going to take, it's probably going to be either 20 or 21. However, the only way that makes the difference is when you add on the embellishment. You want to make sure your embellishment is pretty even, so you might have to play with that a bit, but I'm going to show you both embellishments so that whether you have 20 beads around or 21, you'll be able to do either one. Okay, let's turn this into an earring. So I've threaded my needle with about 1.5 feet of thread, put on a stop bead, and leave a little tail to sew in. I'm going to do this ear wire and embellishment first, and then we'll do this one because they're a little different. All right, so I'm just going to sew through any bead that I want to be where I want my ear wire to attach to. Okay, so here I'm just going to sew through like that. Then I'm going to pick up 4 11/0 seed beads, and I'm going to sew through the other side of the bead I've just gone through. I've just put that little unit on. I'm going to sew up through the first seed bead there. I'm going to pick up a seed bead, and I'm going to sew through the next one. So I'm just sort of making this a little decorative. Give that a pull. Like that. Make sure it pops out. Pick up another one. I'm going to go through this one, the next seed bead. So I'm just going to put a seed bead in between the beads I just put on. So there. Straighten out, you little guy. So if it twists around, make sure your beads don't twist, because that's how it should sit. And then one more through this one. You can do any loop you want here. You can put a wire guard on, whatever you like. Okay, just move my tail thread out of the way. So here I'm exiting this bead right now. I'm going to go right back through that 8/0 that I originally went through. Don't get your stop bead caught. There we go. So this is what it looks like. You can go around again. I'm just going to continue on. So now I'm just going to continue on. I'm going to embellish. So I'm exiting that, that bead that I started with. I'm going to sew through the next 1, 2, 3, 4 beads. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. Now I'm going to pick up 3 of my seed beads. You can do any kind of embellishment here. I'm exiting here. I'm going to sew back through the bead I'm exiting, and 2 more. Like that. I'm sorry it's so bright because of the silver. And that puts a little picot right there. I'm going to pick up 3 of my 11/0s, exiting here, sew back around and through 2 more. Pick up 3, exiting here, going to sew through that one, the other side of that one, and through 2 more. Just going to do that all the way around until it's even on both sides. So 3, come around and through 2 more. 1, 2, 3, exiting here, come around and through 2 more, like that. 1, 2, 3, come around and through 2 more, like that. And I think I have 1 more, 1, 2, 3, 11 O's, come around and then through 2 more. And that should sit your embellishment pretty much evenly all the way around. Now my unit's a little loose because I've been playing with this one so much that I've kind of pulled it apart a bit, but you know, that's what it should look like, and yours will be nice and strong and beautiful. Tie those threads in, put on your ear wire right here. Now this bead at the top may, you know, you might need an ear wire with a bigger opening here to fit it through. I use these tiara cast with the big loop, so you can always leave that off and just put your ear wire in instead of adding a bead in there, you know, whatever you like. All right, so there you go. That's that one. So I'm going to get that done and then come back and we'll work on the turquoise. Okay, let's do this one. So we're going to add the ear wire just a little differently. So I'm going to put it in between, a little piece of Rolo chain in between here. So I'm just going to go back a few beads. Doesn't matter where, you know, you just want it in between a couple of beads. Just gonna, so I, you know, thread my needle, of course, like before. I've gone back a few beads and exited in between 2, picking up my Rolo. And I'm just gonna go, so exiting here, I'm just gonna go through all the beads. Just gonna sort of pop that in, and you see what happens. It will sit, once we pull it, it will sit in between 2 beads there. I'm just going to sew all the way around the unit. There's plenty of room in these 8O seed beads, so why not? Like so. Just gonna go past, so I'm gonna go, you know, up to where I have my Rolo chain on, through the chain, and down 5 beads. So that's 4, and I'm gonna go through number 5, and then you can kind of pull that. You can even sew this other end in if you like, and then we'll start adding the embellishment. So let's add the embellishment. So I'm exiting this bead here. I'm going to pick, for this one I picked up an 11O, an 8O and an 11O, exiting here, sewing through that one and down 2 more, so like before, like with the other earring. 11O, 8O, 11O. Through the other side of the bead I'm exiting, plus 2 more. 11O, 8O, 11O. Rid of the cat hair. Exiting here. So through the other side of the bead I'm exiting, and 2 more. You got it. I'm going to do that, and you want to straighten them out a little bit as you go around. So you're just going to do that all the way around until you get back to the place you originally started. So you're just like right across from the other one. All right, so get that done, come back, and we'll finish up. Okay, we're back and we're done. So all I did, of course, at the end was I just trimmed my Rolo chain. I cut it so I could, you know, I left a couple of loops there, and then I put my ear wire on. I just think they're so cute, so adorable. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take a look at the book, see what you think. It's such a great book. It's really got me excited about learning a little more about lace beadwork. Very cool. And don't forget the Czech Pearls. They're gorgeous. Look at that gorgeous glow on those. I will have both the book, the pearls, all materials, you know, as usual, linked down below. So please check the description box below the video for all information. I also have coupon codes. I don't want to go through the whole thing. I always do, you know, for the mats and stuff. So always check the description box because it's chock full of info. Anything I forgot too, which happens occasionally. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.